I'll do it one more time for the few attendees who just showed up. My name is Ward Griffith, and I'm with Hyphen Solutions. Thank you for attending today, and I'm really excited to talk about this topic. It's one of my favorites. As home builders, we struggle with a myriad of things when we talk about all of the happenings that really start out at the job site, where we're trying to sell the right plan on the right lot with the right structural options, with the right design center options, with the right colors, and communicate that actual home, whether it's a spec home or to be built, to communicate that happening at the job site. How do we take all of that data and communicate that not only to our home office, but to the customer, and then to our superintendent, to the trades, to the suppliers, and to the manufacturers, so that everybody's on the network and everybody's in tune to exactly what's happening, why is it happening, and when does it need to happen. So excited to talk about the Hyphen Network. And again, thank you for attending. My name is Ward Griffith, and I'm the Director of Business Development at Hyphen Solutions. I also have with me today Ed Ledgerwood. He's the President of Ethos Systems, and we'll be presenting the Sage Intacct Construction, no doubt the most current web-based, dashboard-driven construction system for the home building industry, and we're excited to show that to you today as well. A little bit about Hyphen Solutions and who we are. Hyphen Solutions is the largest provider of scheduling, purchasing, or I'd rather just say collaboration software in the industry. We currently have 21 of the top 26 home builders, and most of these builders are on Oracle, not all of them, but most of them. And so we have an integration to their back office ERP that allows the network to be leveraged properly. But these builders, what they recognized was the reduction of cycle time, the reduction of errors, the ability to go back to subs and suppliers and get better prices because they eliminated dry runs. Everybody knew what was happening and when it was happening. And we wanted to take that same ability, that same network that they've leveraged, and bring it down to the mid-size market and down even to the smaller builder. So Hyphen now has builders doing 50 homes a year. We've got builders doing 250 homes a year, and we've got builders doing 20,000 homes a year. And so every builder in the marketplace now has the ability to leverage, the network. This is a little bit of our growth over the last years. We've been in business for 20 years and currently hold a little bit more than 30% of the job starts in North America. So 1 out of every 3 homes that's being built in North America is being built on the Hyphen Network. Our vision is to be, the trusted home builder network. And the truth is, we're really the only real-time online network in the industry. And the goal and the vision was, and we haven't stopped, by the way, we're continuing to try to leverage other things that our builders need, that your suppliers need, that manufacturers need, so that we're responding to that critical mass of trying to build homes in a timely fashion. And so we want to share and create a one-time system that allows us to share all that critical information across the network to everybody who needs it, when they need it. This is a little bit of, what happens in a typical builder's office, right? And I'm having some fun here, but you can see there's schedules, delays, contracts, purchase orders, payments, warranty items. Hit the wrong button there, sorry. Warranty items. A builder's life is busy and there's much going on. And some of that information needs to get to customers. Some of that information needs to get to our superintendents. Some need to get to suppliers. So we see that happening and just thought, there's got to be a better way, right? Also, what does that look like? All of that happening, all of those things that are happening in our offices, what does that look like? What does that end up being what is the result of that to our subs and suppliers? Well, in that first picture, that's what the building industry has kind of done to the trade and supplier market, right? We have forced the trade and supplier market to interact with builders in a myriad of different ways on different portals with emails and Excel. And so the supplier now has to manage all of that traffic with all of those builders. But if the trades and suppliers are on the network, the world looks like this. So we've tried to create a single use for them as well on the supplier side and on the trade side and on the manufacturer side, where they can work with any builder, no matter their platform, and just have a single source of the truth. So we came up with a question we asked ourselves, and we ask ourselves this all the time: what if there were a better way? And we believe that there is a better way, and that is to be able to connect, back office accounting data with vendors data, with field operation data, and create a single source of truth. We do this by deploying the Hyphen Builder solution. Now, some of our builders, like I mentioned earlier, are on Oracle, and they may not require the entire platform. Other builders who are in the mid-market or small market do need to have our ERP system in place to leverage that portion of the network. And so I wanted to take you through quickly the different parts of the network. You don't need all these pieces, but you can see in the center hub, we are communicating from the various aspects of our software out through our Build Pro product, out to suppliers, trades, and manufacturers. I'll show this slide at the end of the presentation again, but if you need to get in touch with us, I've provided a phone number, and I've also provided an email in the up left-hand corner. So quickly, what would it look like if you deployed the Hyphen solution? And we'll just touch briefly on all of these various pieces. First, this is a little bit of a flow chart of what a typical builder experiences in their office. So typical builder first looks at, what product they're going to provide on what piece of land. What's that product going to look like? Why are they building that product? How are they going to monetize that product? How are they going to price that product? And so typically they come in and they define floor plans or use floor plans they've used before and maybe make some changes and decide what options they're going to provide on the base, what options they're going to sell in the design center. And then they typically go out and they either have costs that they have from their trades and suppliers, and they have that by community. They can get estimated costs for that one build if they do build on their lot or a custom home. But typically, a lot of builders know some costs, but they rebid out for each new development. So we take the cost of those items, and we can look at those costs in several different facets. This is just for one model, and you can see in the upper left-hand corner that this is for the Lexington plan. And I've broken the Lexington plan down into estimating activities. And if you look at the bottom part of the screen, I've categorized those by what we call a PO index. So what are all the items, if you look at item 1 in the blue, what are all the items that I need to send the excavator? And then you can look at that going down the page. What are all the items that I need to send to my lumber supplier? We also provided the vendor name, because in this community, for this job, I know most of my subs and suppliers. You may not know them all. You may have some to be determined. And I've got their prices already because I did a bid, and we do those bid solicitations out. Once we do that, that fills into our estimating system. Our estimating system allows you two things. One is you can keep things lump sum. And if you look at that middle column, you'll see that it's called lump sum bid. And so my things for excavation are typically somewhat lump sum anyways, but you can have a mixture of lump sum and detailed. There's no right or wrong. Every builder does it a little differently. But you can keep things lump sum in this case, or you can keep things in a detailed fashion. So notice I've taken my lumber and I've priced out my lumber by every piece that I need. The question that I often get asked is, how does that lumber price and those lumber activities, how does that get in our system? If you'll notice across the top toolbar, you can import those items straight from Excel. Also, many builders use Sage Timberline or Sage Estimating. We can import those items straight from estimating. A lot of builders use Plan Swift, or they'll use eTakeoff, and they're doing takeoffs of their plans. We can bring that information from those systems straight in here as well. So regardless of how you're doing takeoffs, we can bring that information in. Typically on the West Coast, we're doing lump sum turnkey type bids, and we don't break our material out, but certainly you can if you want to. The neat thing is we can then go in and decide we're going to take those costs and publish those costs out to the sales center. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we have our profit built into those plans, those elevations, those options, design center options. So now we know our cost, but what are we going to sell it for? And I love this screen because on this screen, I have the ability, if you look in the purple, kind of down to the right, I have the ability to determine what do I want to sell this house for? And I can take my cost and I can either mark it up by a %. I can determine by margin. I know that I need to make a certain margin on my design center options versus my appliances versus my structural options. And that'll calculate your selling price. Or I can put in a selling price and it will back calculate and tell me my margin and my markup. And obviously everybody in the industry right now is being affected by costs that are rising, though I just saw that lumber came down for the first time in many months, came down a little bit this month, so that's good. So we need to account for that drastic fluctuation in our costs. And so we allow you to forecast. And this is one of the very unique things about the Hyphen solution is forecasting. So I have my months across the top of the screen. And in those months, I've got my categories down the left-hand side of my screen. And now it gives me the ability to go in and say, here's what I think is going to happen to lumber. I think it's going to go up 3% this month, 5% next month. It may stay consistent for a couple of months. And so I can move my forecast up and down to an anticipated cost of what I think is going to happen next month, which then allows me to go back into my sales pricing and account for those adjustments and determine and make sure I'm maintaining my profit margins, but also if I need to republish sales prices to do so. And so this is one of the only systems I've ever seen that allow you to forecast, adjust my selling prices based on anticipated costs or costs that go down or up. But once I have my costs, I quickly just want to verify that I've got my selling price, my costs. I'm looking at my profit. Everything looks good. I now might want to break that out into further detail if I desire. And across the very top in that teal color, and you can make whatever colors you want. But I've got my selling price, my cost, my profit, but then I just break it down by category. Then I break it down by cost code. And it's just kind of one more chance to check, my plans, one more time to check the profitability, one more time to check the costs, make sure I've got all my trades lined up before I send out these sales prices to my sales center. Once I've done that, I simply send this information out to my sales center, and now I can manage my prospects. I can do email campaigns, I can do click-throughs, I can do open rates, I can walk somebody through the contract selections, and all of this in a very visual manner. So the first thing is, a quick traffic card. I'm just tracking, who came in, why they came in, did they come off the internet, how did I get the lead, how hot are they? And then I'm going to walk them through the visual process of looking at my virtual topo. And this is something you can load. You can drop the color-coded pins on there. You define what those color-coded pins mean. And you can do things like I've got lot premiums for that corner lot that's highlighted. So it's just a visual way to walk the customer through choosing the home on the property. Now, if you're doing spec homes, then they'll just see the spec home that's on that lot, right? Then we can walk them through the visual selection process of the base home, the elevations, the options, all meanwhile in a very visual way, showing them the cost of the house, what they're adding to the cost of that house. We can then walk them through design center options. And there's several different ways to set up design center options. This is one way, and again, completely visual, but you can also set up rules. So this is what's called our wizard, our selection wizard. It's completely user-defined because every builder has a certain way they sell their homes to their customers, even if it's a spec home, okay? So you create your selling path. And when you do that, you create your rules. So you can see right now I've got cabinets open, but different cabinet suppliers offer different cabinet sizes. And they offer in those sizes different colors. And with those different colors is a different hardware package. So what we want to do, and what I want to explain on this screen is, we're trying to make sure we always build the right home on the right lot. And if that lot has a walkout on it, then they can sell a walkout. If it doesn't allow a walkout, they can't sell a walkout. If they pick that cabinet with that supplier, they got to pick a color and a size and a hardware package. So I have the right home on the right lot with the right options, with the right color selections. So we know right up front, we've got an accurate house, we got accurate cost, we have an accurate selling price. Obviously, everything works through DocuSign. So I'm going to go through a sales manager approval. DocuSign is embedded in our software. So you'll be able to see who the documents went out to, and I can have all of my collected addendums, color selections, part of that document. And I can see where it's going in its routing process, who needs to sign next if I have multiple signers. Once that's done, it automatically creates an estimate, creates a budget, creates my purchase orders, and I'm ready to do my start. So you can see in the top left-hand corner, I've got an inbox. In that inbox, it's just saying we have a new home that came in. This is my new home that came in. That new home that came in's got purchase orders associated with it, and that's what's in the center of the screen. Those purchase orders, those are all my purchase orders, all my costs, everything that I need to send out. I can then say initiate those purchase orders. When I do that, I can group my purchase orders. Now, I'll say something about purchase orders because we're talking to a lot of West Coast builders on this call. You can do purchase orders several different ways. You can do them lot by lot. Inside a lot by lot, you can group them. If you'll notice on the screen, and I know it's a bit small, but on the left-hand side and a little bit at the bottom, you'll see PO group. That's PO group, and notice PO group 1 is open. I can group my purchase orders, so I can say on this lot, just release everything up through lumber. And then when I go vertical, release everything up through dry end. So you control the release of those purchase orders. You can also do what's called phase release. So if you've got several lots, or maybe you're doing some multifamily, and you want to release several units and activities across several units, you can group those together in what we call phase release. So I'm just simply going to issue my purchase orders. Those get issued out. This is just a copy of a purchase order. You can make them look how you want to. It's just a crystal report. And once the purchase orders are issued out, three things happen automatically. One, that purchase order and all that information is sent over into accounting. So accounting now has the committed cost. Your superintendent now has those start notices, those purchase orders, if they apply, those color selections, have everything they need. And maybe we decided to let the customer know we've started. And we certainly want to allow the supplier and the trades to know when they need to be on site, what they need to bring, what specifications, what items we sold, what color selections, those things. So all of that happens from issuing that PO. The next thing that happens is scheduling, and I'm going to pause here. We'll get into scheduling in a moment because that's when we start to push things out to our superintendent, our customers, our suppliers, our trades, and our manufacturers as part of the network. But I also wanted to show you the third thing that happens with those purchase orders. They went over to accounting and updated accounting. And in scheduling, when I approve those activities for payment, it comes back into the purchase order system, approves those purchase orders for payment, and updates accounting. So I'm now going to transition the presentation from myself over to Ed Ledgerwood, and I want to show you a little bit about what's already accumulating over in job cost through our dashboard system. So Ed, do you want to take a minute and just show that, and then we'll come back and finish out scheduling.
Okay, Thanks, Ward. Can you see my screen?
We can, Ed.
Great. So as Ward said, it feeds that information over into Sage Intacct, and we have dashboards. So I'll go through the dashboards and show you that process and some of the reports that you can get out of the system. So first of all, you can put whatever date in the system as you want. So at the top here, I can go back or forward in the date there to look at different things. I also then have what we call performance cards. So I can set these performance cards to look at percentages, look at dollars, to look at changes month over month, and how many active jobs I have, how many new jobs I've done this month, and a profit margin. So the detail that Ward has showed you, it brings over into, we have two subdivisions here, Coyote Ridge and Hawks Landing. And so this is the contract amount that you have for those houses there. Here's the estimate of the cost and your estimated gross profit and percentage. The purchase orders that Ward was talking about are going into commitments. So that's updating these commitments. Commitments to us are purchase orders, and then maybe if you subcontract the painting or something like that, that would go in here as well. Of that contract amount, this is how much is billed. Of the commitments that we've put into the system, this is how much cost we've incurred, on that house. And then an estimated gross profit, percent spent, and percent billed. So these figures are updated in real time, as we're putting in purchase orders, as we're creating invoices within the system, and tracking the progress of that house. I'll scroll down a little bit more to show you some other things here. So this is just allows you to drill down a little bit deeper into, those costs. Then if I just want to look at this month, I can look at this month, on any lot that, I have. And then if I have the customer, I can look at the profitability, of each individual house as we progress through the building of that house. Again, at the bottom here, you'll see bar charts and pie charts here so that I can look at the different data there in different ways. I can look at the pie chart here. I can also drill down, on any of these, to get the data there. So it's very easy for project managers or owners to see where we're at on any house, any lot, any subdivision.
Hey, Ed, if you've changed your screen, it hasn't moved. So we seem to be, at least I'm frozen a little bit.
Okay.
There you go. It's working.
Okay. So you see the pie chart now, Ward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this allows you to show the data in different ways and also drill down. If I click on the pie chart, I can drill down, and look at the data, on that individual, house for it. So how the system is set up is another thing I will show you. So if I go over here, this is the standard cost catalog, just like you saw Ward show you. You can break down the house in whatever cost code structure that you have now. This is just a sample there. But again, as Ward said, we can customize this to suit, what you are currently doing. Then once you get that cost code structure, it brings it into the different houses and lots that we have. So this is the Coyote Ridge subdivision. And then again, I can break it into subcategories here and then even track different options, as the system goes here. So it's very easy to see at any time where you're at on a lot, on a particular house, or on a particular subdivision. This information is updated by Hyphen, and we send information back to Hyphen as well there. One of the other dashboards that we have here is the billing. So as we bill the customers there and you have somebody collecting money, this might be a dashboard. All these dashboards are user defined, but usually assigned to the different people within your accounting or project management. We also have communications in here so that we can create communications between different people, and those notes will be set up on the project or the house so that you can easily see that, information. So again, just a quick overview of what information that you can see within the house and track those projects, as they move forward. So I'm going to pass it back to Ward now. So he's going to go and show you some more information. Ward?
Thank you, Ed. So we left off with scheduling. We really left off with the purchase orders. When we issued that job start and said start, those purchase orders went to the dashboards over in accounting and updated our costs, updated our committed cost. But it also came out to the network. And so what I'm on is actually the network. And so it's connected now, all of my ERP data to whatever world I want to expose this to. So this is just a typical dashboard that a superintendent would log into. So I'm in the Hyphen portal, and in the Hyphen portal, you can see right away, right at the top, how I'm connecting to the world that I want to connect to. So as one superintendent or builder, or what you might call your project managers, a superintendent can quickly come in and see that I've got 35 active lots that I'm responsible for. I can also quickly come in and see that I have 160 purchase orders in process. I also have 93 tasks for today that I need to go through and update and look at. So very quickly, you can see that I can see what jobs I've got, what purchase orders I need to address, what task I have for today. I also have 36 order alerts. Those order alerts are coming from my suppliers. They're telling me something about the job. Can they be there? Can they deliver material? Can they get that particular item that particular item I need supplied? So very quickly, you can see I've connected to my subs, my trades, my suppliers, and I also have home progress images. This is going to my customers. So I'm gonna make sure I wanna send that stuff to my customers. So just from my dashboard, you can see I've connected to the network all real time. All real time. So the other thing that's nice about here is I've got a little quick, snapshot of the weather on my particular community that I'm in. But the key that I wanted to show you is just how easily this is connected to the whole world. So across the top, I've got jobs. And if I click on jobs, it's going to show me a list of my jobs and some bullet points there, things about my job. I also have several different types of scheduling. I have mobile scheduling. So if you don't want to use the desktop version, we have a mobile version, okay? And the mobile version works for the suppliers as well. And I don't have to have connectivity. I can use the mobile app regardless of my connectivity. And then when I'm back, I can sync back up. I also have multifamily. So if you're doing multifamily, we've got a scheduling for that. And we do box scheduling. So box scheduling is the ability to group several lots together, or maybe even several units together, and be able to look at that as one schedule. So multifamily and box scheduling share some commonality, but there's some differences there too we can discuss in another meeting. I'm simply going to drill down on jobs, and in jobs, it quickly pulled up all of my jobs that I'm responsible for. And you can simply see it just has the address and the lot and block. JME, this is just an easy way for me to go into Job Management Express. Okay, if I'm using my mobile device, there's mobile Job Management Express. But I'm simply just going to go into a particular lot. And when I'm in that lot, it quickly just pulled up all of the activities that I need to address. It's showing me the supplier if it's not to be determined. If it is to be determined, I can assign one. It's showing me the lead date, the start date, the end date. And then if you look out here to the right, you'll notice in blue it says sub. That means I have sent this purchase order, or I have sent this acknowledgement, or I've sent the color selection, or whatever I need to send. I've sent it to the sub, but the sub has not yet acknowledged that they've gotten it, or they can be there on site, or they can provide the material. So real time over in the supplier portal, they would see the same information, and then they'd be able to drill down and go, do I have this on hand, or can I be there on that date? And if they said yes, this would immediately be updated, and it would say acknowledge. And that way I know I've communicated with them. I'm not going to drill down, just for time's sake, into any more detail on the schedule at the moment, but you can see there's a completed box. If these items are completed, I simply complete them, and that completion will go back over, complete that purchase order for payment. It makes sure their lien waiver is in. It makes sure their workers' comp date is compliant before we pay those. I'll show you a quick little view of what's different between a per job schedule and box scheduling. If I look at box scheduling, and you'll notice that all my screens allow me to choose a different subdivision, maybe a different group of homes, okay, a different start date, maybe a different task. How many rows do I want to show? How many columns do I want to show on some reports? It's all about screen management. But I have mine set up, and this is kind of what a box schedule looks like. So box schedule is down the left-hand side. I have my activities, and across the top, I have my lots and my blocks. So this allows me to simply come in and manage multiple units at one time. I need to change the date here, 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 and here. So it just allows for a little bit faster updating if you need to group homes together. So I'm going to go back to my master screen, to my home screen, and we're just going to break right there, and I'm going to stop, and we're going to open it up for questions. There also is a warranty module that's available, look and feel the same. So we've been able to quickly present an entire platform that communicates from the customer and the prospect to leads on the internet, all the way through to our manufacturers and back again, to ensure we have a real-time communication hub, or what we like to call the network, in hopes of bringing down cycle times and building a house accurately right from the start. So I'm going to say thank you for your time. I'm going to pause for a moment, and let's see if we have some questions. I'd be happy to answer those. And Tyler?
Absolutely. Hey, Ward. So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to use the little side panel of the GoToWebinar question section just to submit any questions you have. We do have a couple questions, Ward. What's the cost?
Oh, great question. Somebody came right out, huh? Yeah, so the cost, and I'm going to say it varies, but I'll give you some accurate pictures. So somewhere in the 325, well, and if you did everything we looked at today, you'd probably be in the $400 per start range. If you did accounting and purchasing and scheduling and everything that we looked at today. We are a Sage integration partner, and you looked at Sage Intacct today. If you're on Sage 100 or Sage 300, then you're probably more like the 300, 325 per start range. So it just depends on what pieces you need, but that would be a good overview. And we call a start the minute a job starts, right? The minute we get the contract sold and we've got a budget and purchase orders, that's a start, and we only count it one time. So if it lasts 6 months, it's still just the one start. Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome. Another question is the time of implementation, how long does it take?
Okay, great question. Again, a little bit of a variable there as well. Obviously, man, we're extremely busy in the builder market. So I'd like to take implementations and make them a little bit longer than normal, just because we have to do our daily job too. But if we were looking at the full implementation of everything we showed today, I would guess, we're probably, about 6 months. If we're already on another Sage product or on QuickBooks and we're not going to move, then you're probably 120 days, 4 months. So that's a pretty accurate time frame. If a builder has multiple locations and they build in multiple states, depending how we deploy that, those larger builders that are 1,000, 15, 2,000 homes can sometimes take a year.
Awesome, thank you, Ward. Another question I have is, how do I go about getting a deeper, more one-on-one presentation?
Okay, great. Yeah, certainly just email us. I'll go back to the PowerPoint slide. If you can get in touch with us at sales@ihyphen.com and just say, hey, I'd like to schedule a deeper presentation. By the way, whoever sent in that message, thank you. It prompted me to do that. But yeah, just contact us there and we'll make sure we get the right person in touch with you as quickly as we can.
That's all the questions that we have at this time, Ward.
Okay. Well, from Ed and myself and Tyler from Hyphen and from Ethos Systems, thank you. We are excited about the opportunity of getting in touch with you and make it a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Ward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Bye.